So yeah, I was one of the 42 people that they interviewed. And I gave this interview back in September of 2019. It's really funny, it's really odd to me that they discovered me. See, I'll start out at the beginning. I set up a Twitter account, and this is months before I had even started making videos here on YouTube. I set up a Twitter account because it was around the time that Varg had gotten banned off of YouTube, and I still wanted to follow him, so I made a Twitter account. And I found this odd because I had never imagined that I would make a Twitter account. And honestly, the first month or so that I had it, I didn't really use it. Didn't really know how to, because I didn't use social media much. I had a Facebook, but I never posted anything on it. But I figured out, I was like, well, I'll start posting stuff. I'd post stuff about history, pictures of places that I'd be hiking, some obscure history. And it seemed like just a couple of days I got, 50 or 60 followers. And I got a direct message, from a guy named Mike. And we got to talking about a YouTube channel that we both watch. It's called Asha Logos. And he asked me, we messaged each other back and forth a couple of times, he asked me if I would be willing to do an interview for his company, Red and Associates. And at first, I was extremely weary. I had never given an interview other than maybe a couple of times in high school after a baseball game, if I'd had a good game, and people covering the game for the local paper would come ask me a few questions, but I'd never given an interview like this. So he put me in contact. I agreed to it, tentatively. He put me in contact with a journalist. This journalist is from New York, and I think now he's one of the senior consultants to that company, Red and Associates. The company is based out of Copenhagen, Denmark, and they do research for obviously it's a fairly large company. I looked at their website. I only found this article just a few weeks ago that was posted in the Financial Times. I was just wondering, I was just curious if I could find what they had said about me in their interview. Anyway, they do a lot of research projects for huge companies, and apparently, according to that article, they had done this particular interview, or these sets of interviews, for Jigsaw, which is an affiliate to Google. Now, we had spoke to each other a few times in the 2-week period leading up to the interview, and on one of the calls he let me know that there was going to be a second person there interviewing me, a woman of Middle Eastern descent who lived in England. I don't know if she was perhaps Lebanese, Iraqi, I don't know. I never asked her. But he encouraged me he knew what I was going to be talking about, which was the Great Replacement Theory. And he told me not to hold back. So, I was nervous, but I agreed to it. The day finally came and we met up. We actually met at the Waffle House here in town because the lady, she had always heard of Waffle House, and since they were here in the South, she wanted to try it out. So we went in there, we ate. I didn't eat much because I was nervous, as I said. And of course, I had this suspicion that perhaps the journalist, that he was Jewish. And when we met face to face, I could tell. I was like, wow. I'm probably going to have some opinions that neither of these people like. And I mean, last night I was just looking through his Twitter feed, and he is basically diametrically opposed. We see things completely differently. On race, we're racially opposed. We are politically opposed completely. He grew up in Washington, D.C., and he lives in New York. I mean, it was basically, he had a cosmopolitan worldview compared to my rural worldview. And I mean, we were diametrically opposed. But I gave the interview. It was a 4.5-hour interview. They asked me about my background, about my life. I explained it to them. And, you know, told them, just in conversation, I had told them that, you know, I had some reptiles back in our apartment, and they were curious to see them. Because when I was a kid, of course, I wanted to be a herpetologist. I've always admired reptiles and amphibians. So we went back to my apartment and finished the interview there. It was 4.5 hours. You know, I was honestly kind of exhausted after it, but I explained my point of view. I explained that I don't see the Great Replacement as a theory. I see it as the truth. And I explained my process into coming to this conclusion. You know, you look at it, our race, we are quickly becoming a minority. I mean, I think, what is it now, from what I've heard, people that are European or of European descent, we only make up, I think, 9 or 8% of the entire population in the world right now. And in the nations, in Europe, here in the United States, Australia, New Zealand, we are a rapidly decreasing majority. I mean, stats prove this. You can look up the statistics. We are being demographically replaced. But then, and I mean, this is a realization I came to long before I had ever given this interview. The question becomes, is this something that's just happening, or is there forces leading to this? And I'm wholeheartedly convinced, and I believe, that there certainly are forces that wish to see our replacement. You know, often there's a lot of literature that was written back in the, I guess, the 40s. One being the Kalergi plan. It was Richard Coudenhove-Kalergi's plan to, basically it's white erasure through miscegenation, through various means. I can't remember the author's name, but there was a book called Germany Must Perish, in which he stated that all German men should be sterilized and their war strain bred out of them. And I explained this, you know. Why are our nations, it's not just happening here in the United States. See, here in the United States, it's a little more blurry as I see it, you know. Of course, European people, they built the nation that we know today. Now, as soon as the first Europeans, hell, the first Vikings who stepped off the boats onto the North American continent, we automatically became a multiracial society, country, nation, or area, I should say. It wasn't really a nation, because of course the natives were here first. But why is there such a push in the last 10 years to flood Europe, which is our race's ancestral homeland? Why is there such a push to import migrants there? Asylum seekers, as they call them. Why? Because that is our race's homeland. You know, it could, yeah, of course, I'm very aware of the argument that America is a land of immigrants. But why Europe? I mean, this is just, and why is it? I mean, it's on so many levels. Why is there so much media and advertising? You see that mixed race couples are promoted. White people are encouraged not to have children. You know, we're encouraged, young women and young men too, we're both taught that if you have a child before you finish college, your life is over. It's absolutely done. We're taught that children are just a burden and that we should enjoy the child-free life. And this is a complete fucking joke. It's selfish. You know? It's completely selfish. And it's greedy. I mean, how women are encouraged to chase a career. A lot of times if you're a man, you're taught to screw around. And if you have a child, then that's going to be a real drag. You know, it's just immensely selfish. And I mean, this propaganda is aimed at us for a reason. Not to mention the exorbitant, like how expensive so many things are today. So yeah, I think it's all by design. And I think there's a certain group of people who are behind this. Our rich and powerful leaders and the shadowy forces that pull their puppet strings. So yeah, I truly believe it. I don't see it as a conspiracy theory at all. It's more of a conspiracy. And it's working. You know? It's working effectively too. So, I gave the interview. And back then I worked at a warehouse. And I've done a lot of different jobs over the years, but this one was probably one of the worst. I absolutely detested that job. And I didn't make much money working there. And given this interview, I made more money in 4.5 hours than I would in about 2 weeks working there. So I had a little extra pocket change, basically. About a week later, they sent me a check in the mail. And I used the money, part of the money, to buy this camcorder, this Sony camcorder that I'm speaking to you on right now. So yeah, this is how I got here, basically. Yeah, you know, it's quite a shock to me because I got asked to be a part of this out of nowhere, in a way. You know, it's very odd, but I will say that the people interviewing me, you know, they were very polite, they were cordial, and I mean, I was polite, I returned the favor. And although I know the opinions that I gave them was absolutely diametrically opposed, probably, to everything that they believe in, they never really let me know that, you know. Although, I mean, I could tell, you know, I'm not stupid. Would I do it again, though? No, probably not. Because, after all, this, I mean, I'm being lumped in with people that believes the fucking world's flat. I mean, really. You know. And that's a video I'm going to make here in the future, is I'm going to examine different conspiracy theories and what I think about each one. But no, I don't think that the Great Replacement is a theory. I think it's happening, and I think it's by design. I believe this wholeheartedly. Best way to fight it is to have many beautiful, high IQ white babies, as Poseidon would say. I probably wouldn't do it again, like I said. Just not interested, you know. But yeah, it was an experience. It was something that just something different, something I never seen coming. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. That's how I got here. And you know, I mentioned in that article that was in the Financial Times the 4 R's that, you know, YouTube or Google uses to deal with content like mine. And I mean, it works, you know. Just a few weeks ago I had a video taken down. It's called Line in the Sand. And if you wanted to watch it, you could find it on my Odyssey channel. It was up for about an hour and YouTube took it down for medical misinformation. Just because I was explaining that I don't really trust the vaccine and I don't plan on getting it. Don't plan on doing it at all, you know. I'm just not going to do it. And while this happened, I was suspended for a week. I couldn't upload videos or anything. And during this period of time, I had 3 more videos taken down for hate speech. Whatever, you know. It is what it is. But, yeah. I know that I won't be on here too much longer. I'm surprised I've made it this far. And thank you all again for listening to what I say and stopping by. I appreciate you. Thank y'all for watching. Bye-bye.